Hi guys, my name is Mikey, the host of Photos by Mikey podcast, where we talk everything about the wedding business industry. And so today we have a special guest. Her name is Joann. Welcome, Joann.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for your time. And so you can see we're actually in her studio space. So if you guys are listening to Spotify or Apple Podcast, you can actually watch this on YouTube. So without further ado, let's kind of introduce Joann to the podcast. So Joann, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the makeup industry.
Well, first of all, I have two children. Their ages 25 and 29, and we have four grandchildren. The youngest one is going to be 2 months old tomorrow. So very happy about that. And I've been married to my husband, my best friend, for over 30 years. We just actually celebrated our 30-year anniversary this January. And the way that I started makeup was I've been doing makeup ever since before I was even doing makeup.
Right.
So since I was a young kid, even when I was 12 years old, perming my aunts and my cousins' hair and styling their hair and doing makeup. But I never really thought that was going to be something that was going to be a career for me. But the way that I started was I had my son very young. I was 17 years old when I got married. And when I had him, I was 18 years old. So obviously the most important thing was to provide for my family. So I started off in the medical field. I went to school to be a medical assistant. And I was in that field for a little bit, but it didn't really work out for me. And I did some other kind of office jobs. And I was really unhappy. And at this time in 2003, 2004, my husband said to me, Joann, why don't you go to school to learn how to be a makeup artist? Find a good school, learn the art, and maybe you can make something out of it. And I was like, really? You think so? And he's like, yeah, everybody loves your makeup and you do your makeup really well. And so I did my studying. I looked around and I found a school out in Burbank. It's called Makeup Designery and it's located in Burbank. And it's one of the accredited schools in the nation. So they teach you everything from film and television, all the basics and fundamentals. And when I started school, I thought I know nothing about makeup. It opened up a whole new world for me. And I've been doing it ever since. So going on 19 years.
Oh, wow. So let me ask you this. So what did your family think when you decided to I'm going to go all in and learn everything about makeup?
My family's so supportive. My husband, he's the reason why I'm doing this because he pushed me to do it. And anything I've ever wanted to do, anything I needed supplies or anything like that, it was not a problem. He would just go along with it. Even if when I had to practice male makeup on him, he would, not that he wanted to, but he let me because it was part of the job. And so my kids too were very supportive. I mean, they would always see me coming downstairs with some type of crazy makeup or, something different, but they were always supportive of it.
That's awesome. So did you go all in right away, or did you have to still work full time
Well, so what I did was I quit my job and I went to school. But right after that, the beauty course is only a straight 4 weeks. So you have to go full time. So I didn't go to school. I would take the Metrolink from Fontana all the way down to downtown LA, then from downtown to Burbank.
Oh, wow.
And would be really early in the morning, do some walking. And it's not that I didn't have transportation. It's just that I didn't really want to drive that long distance when I can take the Metrolink. So anyways, after that, right after I applied at Macy's, and that's really where the training came into play. So I started off in retail for the first 6 years of my career. And that's where not only was I working and making money, but I was also practicing.
Right.
Without anybody even knowing. My clients, I worked for a brand that we would have to do traffic stopping. So that would be like, hey, come here, let me show you something real quick. And then I would do my little demonstration. And from there, literally that's who I practiced on was everybody and anybody that would sit in my chair. So that was a great experience. And that's something that I do tell anybody that is aspiring to be a makeup artist to really try retail first. Not try retail, but do retail, because not only are you going to learn and brush up on your skills, but also on your customer service. And that's a huge deal when it comes to bridal hair and makeup.
That's interesting because I always wondered like if you work in that space, right? Was it difficult because you have all walks of life, different skin types, and people that are maybe looking for something that is not, because I know it's like photography. Like when I talk about photography, it's also about styles, right? So did you always have to like, you know, learn about different skin types, or what was like the most challenging about that?
So that's one thing, is you have to listen. You have to listen to the client. So first things first, if the client's coming to my counter, which I was at, first I was at Clarence, which is a skincare, something for more mature women. And we did learn a lot about skin and all of that good stuff. But when I worked for Benefit Cosmetics, that was more, it opened up to different age groups and all of that. But the thing about it is that you have to listen to the client. So if I sit somebody down and I don't ask the right questions, like what have you tried from Benefit, and I just start going all in and start showing them things, and they already have that, then I'm wasting my time.
Right.
So one thing about working in retail and working in this business is you need to listen to your clients, because whatever I think might look good on you, you might not feel comfortable with it. And that's something that I had to learn real quick. It's not about what I think. It's about what the client feels and how I'm going to make her feel with the new product. So if somebody comes and says, I've never worn red lips before and I'm really afraid. Well, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to try to show you that, because if you already tried that and you don't feel comfortable and confident in it, then I'm not going to feel comfortable and confident in that decision as well. So definitely, listening to the client. And the thing about working in retail and why I felt like it wasn't for me after so many years was because I wasn't trying to be a salesperson. I was trying to be a makeup artist. And sometimes you have products that you have to work with because you're working with a brand. You have to use their products. But I'm the kind of person that it didn't matter if I represented this brand or not. Right. Whatever you need, I'm going to try to get it for you. Gotcha. So if it was something that from a different brand, then I would go and grab that product, try it on them and show them, because I'm all about integrity, and I want people to trust me. And so if I just feed them a bunch of BS, then they're going to come back and return their products. Right. So that was, that was a challenging thing, but it's a great learning experience. And the other thing about it is that you don't know who's going to come into your chair. You don't know. I mean, they can have skin issues. They can have multiple things, right? But that's what makes my job easier now, is because that's how I learned it. I didn't just have one ethnicity that I was working on, one skin type that I was working on, one skin tone. It was everybody. And that's what makes it, it benefits me now, because whoever sits in my chair, I know I can do that. It's not like, oh, if she has darker skin or hooded eyes, I can't do that, because I've worked on those people already.
Interesting. Yeah. So basically, you had to really think on the fly and like learn everybody's skin types, and it doesn't matter who sits on your chair. So you had to be really like flexible and be able to adapt on the fly, because anybody with any skin type can basically just sit in your chair, right?
Yes, and then that's what happens in bridal. In bridal, like not everybody has perfect skin. Not everybody has the same skin tone. So that really, really taught me the basics and fundamentals on skin types, skin tones, skin textures, what to put on, what not to put on. Because if you have a lot of texture in your skin, you're not going to want to put a lot of things that highlight that. Right. You want to do the opposite, and you want to, conceal that, and then bring out the features that are more, you're able to bring those features out, like the eyes or the lips or the cheeks.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm really going to get into, more bridal makeup later in this podcast. But yeah, we definitely want to get to know your story a little bit more. So when you were working at Macy's, right?
Yeah, I was working at Macy's.
And how many years did you work at Macy's?
I worked there for 6 years. I started off at the counter, first in one counter at Clarence Skincare, which is an amazing brand. And then I went over to Benefit. Then from there, I was a account coordinator. So now I'm out. I have a territory. I have 5 stores. I go to each different stores: Palm Springs, Riverside, San Bernardino, Rancho Cucamonga. And then I would train train the employees on the products in Sephora and in Ulta's.
Oh, wow.
So now I came out of Macy's and then went into Sephora and Ulta's.
Ah.
So when it comes to brands and products, I kind of know a little bit of what I'm doing because I was able to see the Sephora, family, the Ulta family, and what they have to offer and their products, because every store is different and people don't realize that. They think, where they walk into Sephora, they're like, where's the MAC counter? Well, they don't sell MAC at Sephora. Or at Ulta, they walk in and they're like, where's the Dior? They don't sell Dior there. Oh. Maybe now they do, but back then they didn't.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think that gives you a lot of, advantage because you're learning the different types of products, because I guess in makeup, right, not every product may work on every skin type. So how did you transition from, working at Macy's for 6 years and then now working as a coordinator? Like when did that epiphany change when you're like, you know what, I'm gonna have my own studio or have my own business?
Well, once I got into account coordinating, it was a whole different ball game. It's all about numbers. It's all about sales. It's all about last year's numbers. And again, that's not what my goal was. My goal was not to be a salesperson. My goal was to be an artist. So what I did was I actually, thankfully, I was laid off from, then I worked for Urban Decay. They recruited me and I started working for them. They made some changes and I was laid off. And I actually said, thank you. Because I was doing a lot of traveling out to Palm Springs, all the time. And I was really unhappy, very unhappy, because it was so stressful and a lot is on you. So what I did was, after I got laid off, I took the 1.5 years and I started working with photographers and doing shoots, trying to get, my portfolio built up. And, all the while, just, trying to promote myself on Yelp and Google and all the getting your website. But that's really what happened, was me getting laid off and thinking, you know what, I'm going to try this and see if this works. And I've been doing it for 13 years now. Wow. So I guess it is working. Once I got my first side gig, which was a quinceañera, and I could see, and I saw the money coming in and the cash right then and there. And it was instant gratification. I was hooked. And that's when I knew I wanted to specialize in bridal. Well, because also, beauty is, there's so many different avenues in makeup artistry. Right. There's television, there's film, there's, there's production, there's photo shoots. But for me, those were not creative for me. What's creative is me having a bride come in and just amplifying her look and making her look and feel so beautiful. So that's how I transitioned, knowing that I wasn't, a salesperson was not my deal. Right. Because now you're, there's no oversight above you, right? You're your own boss and you're managing your own time and there's no pressure, right? You're doing your own thing. So now it's you're being more creative, right? And you have more freedom to do whatever you want. So from there, did you have a studio right away, or you just, did on-site? So also at this time, I was also doing some other things, like working on a feature film as a second artist. And that's really, those, working on television and film is really tough. It has long hours, low pay. The stress is really bad. So I tried all of that too, because I thought, that's so cool, Right. And it is cool to see things on TV, on commercials that you've done. But I want to be more in control of my own. And so, sometimes you wouldn't get paid, or sometimes you get paid very low. But how it started was, we do have an extra room downstairs. And what I did was I turned that into a studio. Fine, that was working great. And I also go onto locations, but also going onto locations to people's homes that you don't know is also whole nother deal. So sometimes I wouldn't feel comfortable, or you walk into somebody else's space and their home is immaculate and you're bringing in your thing with the wheels and you're hitting stuff. I don't like that either. Right. So we built this, put the studio into my house within the extra room. And then, that was working really good, but there'd be times that my husband, my boys, they're home on the weekends because they work during the week. And my husband works on classic cars and he builds classic cars. So they'd be men outside in the front yard. And then my clients would have to come, go into the house and go into the room. And that kind of got a little bit, you know, like not comfortable for my family because this is their home as well.
Right.
So that went on for a couple of years. And the way that I got my own studio was I happened to be working with a fabulous, wonderful boudoir photographer by the name of Julia Kay. She actually started here in this building here in downtown Riverside in Loft 84. She was doing boudoir and I started doing the hair and makeup for her, for all her clients. And then she started expanding and we moved to downtown Riverside. She had got a studio space and I rented a little space above with her. And that was so awesome. I was like, yes, I made it. I got my own space. I you know, my own thing. And I don't have to worry about my husband, my kids, or anything like that. The dogs, someone letting out the dogs, whatever. Then the pandemic hit and some things had changed and we parted ways. And I ended up coming back here and asking if they had a space. And luckily they had this space.
That's amazing.
And it has been amazing ever since. I've been here for over 2 years and the area is just amazing for my business. The space is amazing. It's beautiful. People feel pretty when they walk in and that was my main goal.
That's amazing. So let me ask you this. For someone that's starting out in the, you know, bridal makeup industry, would you recommend that they start with like build a studio or just do on-site makeup? Like what would you recommend? Like maybe some pros and cons to both.
I mean, if you're just starting out, that means that you have still a lot of things to work out as far as business goes. And you're building up your clientele because it takes a really long time to build up that clientele. So I wouldn't recommend really getting their own space, but maybe sharing a space possibly with another makeup artist and then traveling. But I started to really say I could only travel to hotel and wedding venues because then that space you can kind of create, you know, you can kind of make it to where you need it to be. Whenever you go into a hotel, they don't have chairs, they don't have tables, they don't have light. I bring all of that with me.
Right.
I actually have that in my truck right now, ready to go whenever I have to go on location. So I would say try that out and maybe partner up with another makeup artist because I mean, my space doesn't get used every single day. So there's room for, you know, sharing. But of course that would be the ideal thing, but that's when I think you get your own space when you're really established and you are like really in the thick of things.
I do agree. I think if you're starting out and, you know, you haven't really got your feet wet and maybe you haven't done as many, you know, clients yet and you maybe not be 100% invested because I do meet like on my end as photographers, I do meet other photographers that want to get into the wedding photography business, but I tell them like, you know what, just maybe assist, right? Other photographers to see if you like it. So like in terms of getting to bridal makeup, did you had clients contact you right away or did you actually like assist other makeup artists? I know sometimes there are like, you know, on the wedding day, there's more than one makeup artist, right? Because you're doing the bride and along with the bridesmaids. So in your experience, like in terms of like a new makeup artist coming on the scene, would you recommend that they would assist in the beginning?
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. There is a lot to learn in this bridal business. It's not all about, I need my makeup and hair done. Okay, I'll be there. It is not. There is so much work, so much back end work that people really don't understand and realize until you actually do it. So my process isn't a very easy one. It's like I got to get to know my client. We have a preview. First, I have a virtual meeting with her because I want her to feel comfortable when she sees me. Because before virtual meetings, whoever walked in and they, you know, that's who it was. But if I kind of get to know them a little bit before and they get to know me, they're a little bit more easygoing or more comfortable or more confident because getting your makeup done by a professional could be a little overwhelming or a little intimidating for some people, right? Because people will look at makeup artists and think, oh God, her makeup's so perfect and I don't know how to do mine whatsoever. So it's intimidating. So I like to kind of ease my clients into me first, get to know each other, because even if they give me visions and all that, I still want to talk with them and listen to what they've got to say about their past experiences with makeup and hair, because whatever past experience they had, and if it was a negative one, I want to make sure that that's not something that I do.
Right.
So if she says, oh my God, the last makeup artist like packed on the powder and made me look so cakey, that gives me right there indication. Well, she doesn't like her makeup heavy, which that's not my style anyways. But anyways, yes, on assisting and learning everything, because it's long days. It's a lot of personalities. It's a lot of, it's a production that you're working on, and you have to be the one with the smile and the happy face. Like, let's go, girls. We're going to make this day happen. It's kind of like when photographers walk in, you guys do the same thing we do, but we do it before you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're there before you.
Yeah, I think we have some similarities as vendors for weddings, right? Because we're with them, for photographers, it's a little bit longer, but you guys are doing consultations as well before the prep, right? You may be there for like early in the morning, right? Yep. Especially if there's a lot of bridesmaids. Yep. So let me ask you this. What's like the biggest obstacle when you first started doing bridal makeup? Give us like an example of like maybe one time where it's just really challenging for you.
Well, finding good people to work with, because obviously I can't do all the jobs myself. I can't do everybody myself. There's been a time that I've done a wedding where we did 11 services. That's 11 makeup and 11 hair. And people were adding at the end. So there's two parts to this. To work with good people and find good people that are actually going to show up for you, and that that you can trust that they're not going to flake on you in the last minute, because that happened on that 11th party. I had a makeup artist scheduled, and she did flake on me.
So you're by yourself?
And we were going to Big Bear, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. We were leaving the house. Oh my goodness. So that was really, really challenging, but I pushed through it. And at the end of the day, I really didn't need her. And I probably would, it's hard to trust somebody like that again. So that was one thing. And the other thing, God, I was going to say
it's okay.
about finding people and, and also like the business part of it, because the adding people at the end. So like, say if I'm only scheduled to do 8 people and then they come and say, oh, could you do 2 more? I would love to do that, but I also need to be prepared for that. Right. Because I'm also a human being that is standing on my feet all day long. I have not ate one thing. I am starving as well. And no, as makeup artists, we don't give ourselves breaks, which I'm going to start implementing that in the future, because I'm not like 20 and 30 years old. I'm 47 years old. Right. So it's not like, back then I could just, keep on going. So I really, really like to know what I'm doing before I'm doing. I don't want to be caught with any surprises.
Yeah, I do see that sometimes where not the bridesmaids, but when maybe like an aunt or family member is like, you know what, we have Joann here. She could do your makeup, like the bridesmaid is like recommending, but then like it throws you out of a loop because you're already kind of, busy with everybody else that you may not have time, right? Time's also always an issue, right?
Time is everything. Literally timing and my timelines are one of the biggest things. Logistics and timing is the biggest thing. Now, you have to also understand that I don't have a magic wand that's going to go, and then your hair and makeup is done. We have to go through, everybody always says, oh, can you just do something really quick? Well, I'm a professional makeup artist and I don't do anything just really quick, because that's not how I was trained. We have to go through every single step of the makeup process and the hair too. So timing is everything. And that's one of the big things, is that if you're going to work in this bridal industry, you better learn about timing and give yourself extra time, because as well as I know, the brides are always getting interrupted. Mm-hmm. They're always having to get to do this or do that, or they're not ready. We walk in and they have wet hair. Even if we give them instructions to have dry hair, sometimes they come out with wet hair, and that's going to take more time because, again, we don't have that magic wand. We have to blow that out, so timing is everything. And although we want to work fast to make more money, I guess, if you will, it's not always about that. because you want to give I want to give my clients, and each and every single one of them, not just the bride, not just the mother, the bride or the groom, the maid of honor, but every single person that sits in my chair, I want to give them quality work.
Right.
Where they're going to be like, oh my God, I feel so beautiful.
Exactly.
So it takes time.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And it's the same value I try to provide to my clients in regards to client experience and the customer service. Because, everything at the end of the day, it's how you provide that service, right? And then also the quality of work. So if you're rushing your work, typically they'll perceive that as like, oh, she's rushing my makeup. Why is she doing that? Is she, she does it maybe because, rushing something is sometimes perceived like you're not providing enough time and, adequate quality to your work. So let me ask you another question, because I think this is something that maybe a lot of brides could take away from this. Like in terms of bridal makeup, what do you usually recommend in terms of time frame? Like, for her by herself, and how much time would you recommend before even like the ceremony?
So I like to have a bride done at least 2 hours before they say they need to be done. But I always have to tell them, you need to know what time your photographer is going to show up, because he's going to want to start taking, first he'll do detail shots, then he's going to want to take, beauty portraits of her. So I got to know first what time the photographer is going to going to get there, because I also already want to be done and kind of cleared up. So that way you have a nice space to shoot in. So about 2 hours before the photographer is going to get there. And for hair and makeup, and it depends on the hairstyle and their hair, about 2.5 hours for a bride hair and makeup. Bridesmaids makeup is usually 1 hour. I can do for me personally, myself, I can do the makeup in 1 hour. But if I have a little bit more time, that means I'm going to do a little bit extra.
Right.
And if you're the bride and it's your wedding day, we definitely want to give a little extra.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I 100% agree. Like I usually tell my brides that I would like to start 2 hours prior, especially if they have a large bridal party, because I need more time to take photos with your bridesmaids. And I always try to ask them too regarding their hair and makeup, because if you can't communicate together with the hair and makeup artist, it's going to be, I don't want to be coming there and, she's still working on you, right? Those photos are not flattering at all.
No, they're not.
Because if she has no makeup at all, I'm not going to take photos of her. I want to come towards the tail end of that, right? Maybe just a little touch up usually, and that will give us the best looking photos. So what would you recommend then? Let's say because on average, I think a lot of couple or brides, they have at least like 4 to 5 bridesmaids. So like, for example, let's say you have 5 bridesmaids to also do makeup. Like how much time would you need?
So personally myself, if I have 5 bridesmaids plus the bride, that's going to be about 5 hours.
Okay.
Right. But it also depends too on the timing. Everything depends on timing. So how much time can you be at the venue beforehand? What time is the photographer going to get there? What time is the ceremony? So if we're talking about a church wedding, they're usually early.
Yep.
Let's say that wedding is at 12 o'clock. I'm going to have to get 2 artists.
Right.
Because we're not going to have that much time to do hair and makeup. So I'll bring in a team.
Right.
So a team of probably two hair and 2 makeup. That way we cut the time down. So, I mean, and most brides don't realize that. I know 5 o'clock is really early.
Right.
But listen, brides, when your time is to start at 5 a.m., that means I have to wake up at 3 a.m. because I have to get ready and I have to travel to wherever I have to travel to. So it kind of not upsets me, but it makes me feel this sort of way when they're like, oh my God, it's so early. But like, yeah, I know. I need the time, I know that, but I have to be up even earlier than you. And then I walk in, they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm like, oh. Yeah, that's why I put my phone on Do Not Disturb at 7:30 every night. Because you know what? If I get a call, if I get a message in the middle of the night, I'm freaking out. and I'm stressing and I can't sleep and I won't be able to sleep the day before your wedding. So that's why everything has to be settled beforehand.
Right. Yeah. So do you advise them that, the day before, make sure you have a good night's sleep? Because, I mean, it's going to be a long day, right? For anybody, especially if you're the bride or the groom. Because and when I first started, I didn't realize like how early sometimes you guys start. And one of the weddings I did, it was like a early wedding, right? The ceremony was like around 10 or something at a church. And I asked her, how are you doing? And she's like, oh, I've been up since 4 o'clock, because she had like 6 bridesmaids. I was like, oh, that makes sense, because you have hair and makeup, and also for your bridesmaids. So, but I just didn't realize at the time when I first started, it's like, yeah, you guys need time too, right? And you have to start earlier than the photographers. So everybody has to be awake,
right?
Much earlier,
right? And us earlier than that, because like I said, travel and getting ready time as well, and then setting up, going to the location, setting up. That all takes time.
Absolutely. Let's move on to your studio, because I would love to talk about your studio and your space here. It's beautiful. Your studio is located at the Loft 84, which is a wedding venue in downtown Riverside. It's one of the iconic wedding venues here, and it's kind of fitting because, if you wanted to have your wedding here, you can have Joann do your makeup in her studio, right? Yep. Which is awesome. So tell us about your space.
Well, I'm fitted for hair and makeup. So if I'm normally on weddings, I usually concentrate on the makeup, and I have my hairstylist. I've been working with my hairstylist for about 8 years, and she's very dependable. She's always there for me, and she books all my weddings. So I know I already have a good hair person, and that's really important when you do makeup, is to really hook up with somebody that you can really vibe with and trust, and know how they work, and she knows how I work. So usually I'm concentrating on the makeup and she does the hair. I also have a space for if you want to, set up drinks or food or whatever we do. If other people are coming, this room is big enough where we had 4 artists plus people waiting, and us, all working together. So it's a pretty nice space and pretty comfortable. And people love it when they walk in. They feel like, oh, this is like, I don't know, every girl really wants to walk into a little glamorous place while you're getting your makeup done. I mean, not like in the mall when I've known brides have gotten their makeup done at the mall, and I've done some brides too back in my day, but that's so impersonal. This is so much more, I don't know, like it just feels more luxury to them.
Oh yeah, it feels like you're being pampered, right? Right. Do you ever provide like champagne? Or?
You know what? I don't.
Oh, okay.
Because the problem is that I don't have at the other space in Ontario, we had a full kitchen. Oh, so she would provide champagne to the boudoir clients, but I don't have like a sink or anything like that. Right. So, and I don't have like a lot of space for extra things. So if you want to bring your champagne, please bring the champagne. No problem.
Absolutely, yeah. It's pretty cool in here because it's you have enough space. Like you have 2 vanities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then you have a big. I mean, you guys can't see it, but she has a massive mirror, which is very clean. You have lighting, which provides good lighting on the client. So tell us about like your setup and like some of the products you use, because I think that's maybe also interesting for maybe like potential brides to understand like how your process works.
So, well, first things first is regarding the space. When you go into a hotel, they're usually ugly. Mm-hmm. Walls. They're like orange or brown or yellow. They're very dark. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of room. Here, I'm able to manage my own space where I'm comfortably working. Now, I can set up at the hotel or whatever venue, but here I have my lights perfectly centered to where I need to see everything. I have my mirrors here that I can check my work, because most people don't know that a makeup artist isn't magic. Mm-hmm. We got to check our work. And when we're in a hotel, there's never really a mirror to check the work. The only mirror is in the restroom. And I'm not doing makeup in the restroom because people have to use the restroom. And then that means I have to. So we never set up in the restroom.
Right.
But I have all my tools set out. And I also have my travel kit that mirrors exactly my studio setup here. So everything that I have here, I also have in my travel kit as well. But some of the products that I use, they're probably not things that the average person would know because they're more professional based.
Gotcha.
So what does that mean? That means that when I purchase these products, I'm able to mix because it's like a paint. It's like I'm like a painter.
Right.
I have my palettes here and my palette knives here, and I don't just pick one color for something like, let's say, corrector or concealer or foundation or blush. I'm always mixing those colors, always mixing those colors. So when I purchase my products, they have to be in a form where, like a palette, where I'm using everything, not at the same time, obviously, but I'm mixing and matching because I have so many different skin tones and types. So most of my stuff is more on the professional range, where I purchase them like out in the Valley, North Hollywood, Burbank, those stores. So you're not going to see a lot of brands like, that you would like Dior or Estee Lauder. It's more professional geared brands.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. Because, for most people, right, maybe they're doing their own hair and makeup. And when they come to your studio, what's like the most common question they ask you? Like, oh, what kind of product do you use? And go ahead.
They say, what's your favorite brand?
Right.
And that's really a hard thing because every brand has something to offer that I really love. So like, let's say, for instance, Ben Nye. I love their eyeshadows. I love their eyeshadows. They're big. They give a good color payoff. They're not ashy. They're not chalky. I love those. From MAC, I love their concealers.
Right.
But every brand has something different. So I don't have one favorite brand.
Gotcha.
I have favorite products from brands.
Makes sense. That's awesome. So let's transition a little bit to like, what you're doing now. So are you primarily just doing bridal makeup, or do you do other work as well?
No, I do special events. So if you're having a quinceañera, a prom, I like to keep my weekends for my brides, but if I can squeeze in one, special event, then I will. So I do all special events, red carpet, people that, going to the red carpet, I do them. So not just bridal, senior pictures, engagement pictures. And I also do offer a one-on-one makeup class, a personal makeup class. So that is geared towards you, your needs, not what my needs are, like, or what the needs are for that picture or for that photo shoot or whatever. It's for your everyday makeup look. That's one thing. So I started developing this class last year. Because everybody always they said, I don't know how to do my makeup. I have all this product and I don't know how to do it. So I started developing where they come in. We first have a virtual meeting and we talk about like what your expectations are. What do you want to learn about makeup? You want to learn an everyday makeup, and then you want to learn into an evening look.
Right.
Okay. And then what products do you have? What are you working with? You come in, we sit down for about 2 hours, and I go through the whole process. I show you on one side, and then you do the other, and then it comes to a complete look. And then I also make product recommendations. So if there's something that I feel like you really need, then I'll make that product recommendation, and I'll also send you an email with the picture and the description of what you need. I write down notes, and I teach you how to put eyelashes on, because that's the number one thing that girls don't know how to do, or women. They don't know how to put eyelashes on, but it's because there is a process on how to put the eyelashes. It's not just put the glue and put it on and you're good to go. There's more to it than that.
I think that's a great resource, right? Because I'm sure most people, they have an idea of how to put makeup on, but learning from you, from all your years of expertise, I think makes a big difference. Because again, like, maybe they're not doing it correctly, like you said, like the eyelashes and stuff like that. So what's one thing, like when you look back at your career, what's one thing that you think back and you know what, I should have done something different. I should have done this differently when I started my makeup career.
Not to be so shy and so insecure to reach out to photographers, because if you get one no, then you're like, oh, you feel defeated. Right. But that, I think I'm such a different person than I was 19 years ago, and it's starting maybe last year to the year before, I've really evolved to something different, and that's a lot has to do with confidence, self-confidence.
That's awesome. I think that's another great tip too, because when you're starting out in any business, sometimes it's difficult to like be confident, right? Because you may not know everything. So, but I think just having a positive mindset to provide great service, I think it comes a long way. And being honest too, like, even when I first started, I was like, I've only done 2 weddings. I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't have years of experience yet, but I'm going to give you the best service I can. So in terms of like your career so far, what was one of the biggest failures that you overcame over the years?
Biggest failure. Well, I didn't do too well in television and film. It's because I didn't know about what it is to be a makeup artist in that field. You think that makeup is supposed to be about putting on makeup and making people look pretty, and it's not. Mm-hmm. And when you're working on television and film, and you're working on it with a crew, there's so much to learn. And I just had to put my ego aside and say, you know what, this is not for me. And I don't want to take a job from somebody that I really didn't have my passion in it. Because at the end of the day, when you're working on characters, they're the director or the producer's characters. They're not your character. Right. So you're not creating your look. And I didn't think that putting dirt on people was fun. I didn't think that was creative. I worked on the feature film and doing dirt and sweat. I didn't think that was pretty and glamorous. Right. And I love pretty, and I love beautifulness and glamorous. So, I didn't do really well in that industry or that genre. But I knew that the bridal industry is my genre.
Right. Because I think some, like with any industry, like if you're a planner or a photographer or DJ, there's different niches, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you first started, like when I first started, I did a little bit of everything. Yes. I did events, quinceañeras, family photos. And I think eventually you kind of find the niche that you prefer and you like. And once you find that, like you said, when you found bridal makeup, it's like an epiphany. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And then when you have that passion, it just comes through more naturally, and it doesn't feel like it's work for me anyways. Right. And I'm sure you feel the same way. So tell us about like, what's the most rewarding part about doing hair and makeup in now, I mean, since you have your own space and, you have an established business.
The most rewarding thing for me is that I've always had low confidence about myself. But what I realized was the art that I was creating on clients was building their confidence, which then made me feel confident. It feels good inside. It feels good inside to make somebody feel beautiful. They've never felt beautiful in their life, or whatever the case may be. They, went through so many things. But once I do their makeup and they look in the mirror and they're almost crying, that's like the biggest thing ever to know, especially on a wedding day. On a wedding day, like everything's special on the wedding day. Mm-hmm. And the makeup and the hair is about the most specialist thing, mm-hmm. because you're the bride and you're the one that everybody's looking at. So it's almost like I'm showing off, but not showing me. I'm showing the work.
Right.
And I love seeing pictures of my brides. I love seeing their photographs afterwards. It's like an adrenaline rush. So that's the biggest thing, is that I feel like if I can give somebody else confidence, it's kind of building mine as well. And I'm realizing that's what it feels like inside. Like when I make them feel good about themselves, it makes me feel good.
That's great. Yeah. I kind of feel the same way too, from coming from photography, is that, I'm there to capture their wedding day. And it's not about me. It's about their friends and family. And my purpose is to capture everything about the wedding day and capture in a beautiful way. And so I get, the gratitude from being there and making sure that I'm able to really capture those amazing moments. So over the years, I mean, you've been doing this for a very long time. What's some of like the resources that you use to like learn your craft, or did you watch YouTube or did you have a mentor?
I did have a mentor, and this mentor, I had a mentor last year. Her name is Brianna Michelle, and she's the millionaire babe. And I got her as for like more business coaching, but what she did was turn something else inside of me. She made me have an open mindset and a mindset shift. So I was able to shift my mindset to be more positive, to be like, even if there's all these other artists and they're working constantly and I'm not maybe having so many jobs, that's great for them.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm any less.
Yes.
So yes, I do like to have, positive podcasts to listen to, positive YouTube channels, YouTube has been great for me. And it hasn't really been about the makeup because on YouTube, things get edited and cut out and it makes it look so easy. And I really want to be, I'm really about my integrity and I really want to be truthful and an honest person with people. So, YouTube has helped me in a different way. About 19 months ago. So July of 2021, I started watching a YouTube video and his name was Sober Leon. And it's all about alcohol addiction. And I started watching his podcast and I've been sober for 19 months.
Oh, wow.
So, and that really helped me to develop me and to actually, and so now with the alcohol that's out of my life, that's been holding me down for so long, I'm able to concentrate and focus more on my business. And that's one of the regrets I have that, maybe I wasn't the best Joann I could be because maybe I was hungover.
Right.
And just now having a sober, clear mind, and that's what he likes to call it, sober, clear, it's just opened up so much more. And I want to do much more. Not just about the makeup artistry, but like maybe with other makeup artists.
Right.
Maybe, I want to network with other makeup artists, but now I have that thing out of the way and I can just be open and just, I don't know. It's just such a amazing experience. And I'm so glad that, because I drank a lot for many years, for 28 years, I drank.
Wow.
And it would be like every weekend.
Oh my goodness.
And hangovers every weekend.
Oh my goodness.
And so once I started watching this YouTube video, I immediately stopped. I tried stopping once before, and I did for about 9 months, but this time around, it's forever.
That's great to hear, because I think as wedding vendors, right, one thing we can do to provide better quality work or better service is to self-development, right? So now you're Joann 2.0, right?
Right. So
you probably have more clarity. You're not, you have more energy because you're not drinking every single weekend, and now you have probably just more focused than ever before, right?
I do. I mean, so if I would drink on Friday, then that means like Saturday morning, I'm like not feeling well and I'm groggy or whatever, but I would still do my job.
Right.
But now I just do it with a lot more energy and I feel good about myself. And it's changed a lot of other things in my life. So from stop drinking, now I've always worked out, but now I'm like really concentrating on my working out, my eating, my intake of like sugar and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a floodgate has opened up, and now I'm trying to I'm on a good path, and I'm okay. I stopped the drinking part. I'm doing the working out every day, and then now it's the eating part. I'm trying to concentrate on.
I 100% agree. I think when you're a better version of yourself, you provide better service, and it just keeps rolling, right? Other positive things starts happening, and more things come on your plate. That's like really great,
right?
It seems like when people have that positive shift, their business does better, right? Because they're really focused and driven and motivated to do better, right? And I think sometimes when it comes to alcohol, because I used to drink too, but I don't drink very often anymore. I only drink on occasion because this year, my main focus was to really focus on just being healthy and really just providing like clarity on my business and really focusing on providing a better service. And so for me to do that, I can't be hangover like on the weekends or even during the week. I would drink sometimes. And so let me ask you this also, because I think this is also very important. As a small business owner, what's some of the maybe challenges for you running a small business?
People not seeing the quality or seeing the bigger picture. So when somebody wants to book for hair and makeup, it's a luxury service. This is not a necessity. This is something that you would like. And when people try to say, oh, I just want a fast hair or makeup, or can you do it for this price? I take that offensively, because if you really want this, and obviously you've done your homework by looking at my social media, my website, my reviews, if you want me, you're going to pay for it. Just like if you would, if you want that Louis Vuitton, you're not going to walk in there and say, oh, can you please give it to me for $900? No.
Right.
Why don't you do that? Exactly. Because they're a storefront. Just because I am a small business owner doesn't mean that I don't have rent. I don't have subscriptions. I have a lot of things that I have to pay for as well. There's a lot of things on the back end that people don't realize that we have to pay for. So when you're paying for makeup and hair services, it's not just about putting on the makeup.
Right.
It's the experience, it's the knowledge, and it's me. It's me providing that for you. So, if you don't want to pay my rate, then by all means go for it and find another person. But I guarantee you that, I don't want to guarantee you, but I'm going to say, if this person, if it's your wedding and this person is not experienced in weddings, you probably will be late for your wedding.
Right. And that's just the truth, right?
It's the truth.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what's some of the misconceptions you think that people don't understand when they hire a makeup artist? That's
one of the misconceptions, is that I just have a whole lot of makeup. I get it for free. I have all this luxury products. Well, I have to pay for all that. I have to buy all of that, and so the misconception is that they're paying me just to put the makeup on, but they're not considering that I'm driving out to my location using my vehicle. I have to pay for rent. I have to use my products. I have to take away my time also from my family. So sometimes people will try to, they'll book me last minute, and then that means that I have to go now and change my plans, and I don't have to. But if I want to work, then I will. And, people don't understand that we also have lives as well.
Exactly. One of the most interesting things too, I think, with the wedding business is that sometimes, especially social media, right? Sometimes people me personally, they DM me, right? They'll DM me, what's your price? I was like, well, let's have a conversation first, because there's different levels to this, right? Like for yourself, like, there's reasons why another company is priced differently, because most likely if they're at a higher price, they have way more experience than someone that's just starting out. So I always try to help them understand that, right? But what's your challenge when someone just contacts you and is like, I just want pricing?
I never give prices over DMs, over the phone, a text message.
Right.
They have to fill out my questionnaire first. Because what happens is, if you inquire about my services and I just give you a price and then you book me, I'm still going to have to go back and get all that information from you. And I need that information, first of all, because I can give you a general price of how much hair and makeup is. But what if you want me to go to Pacific Palisades or to Palm Springs? Well, that's a big travel, time. So that makes a big difference. So I am thorough about getting questions before I can send a quote, and if you don't want to answer those questions and you don't want to answer my questionnaire, then you're probably not the client for me, because I want quality clients that know the quality that I'm giving them is special and it's for their wedding. So I need to have all of that. And if you don't want to do that, then I guess we're probably not going to be a good fit for each other.
That's a great tip, because I do the same thing. I try not to provide the price. I always have them either, can we have a quick conversation over the phone? Because it's a lot easier for me. It's a lot easier for me to have that conversation over the phone, because then I can have a little bit more interaction with you than over text message. If you have a simple question that's not related to price, I don't mind.
Right.
But you're right. Having them fill out the contact form, because now then I'm sure you'll have the date, right? The wedding date. That's probably the most important thing to ask, because what if you're not available? Where's the venue, right? Because what if it's like 2 hours away? Are you able to accommodate that? So, but yeah, that's a great tip. I think for a lot of people that are starting out and maybe they just have an Instagram, right? They don't have a website yet. Because I know you have a beautiful website and they may not have a contact form, right?
Right.
So I think one thing they can do is just have a quick conversation on the phone. And I know there's a lot of people that are just shopping around.
Right.
So what would you recommend if they are just looking for the price and they don't really want to know anything else? Would you tell, that client, you know what, maybe this is not, maybe I'm not your makeup artist. Like what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if they're not interested in putting in the work or actually doing their own, I recommend them doing their homework.
Right.
Just like I do my homework when I want to hire a vendor or something. So first off, you go to their Instagram and then you check to see if they have a website. Then you go to the website. But if they don't have a website, then that's already kind of a indication that, I don't think I want to go with this person,
Right.
Then you go to the reviews, you check out the reviews. So I would suggest that people do their homework first before contacting me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not cheap.
Right. And I think that's one of, again, we were talking about misconceptions earlier, right? Because sometimes clients think that everybody can do the same thing.
Yes.
And it's 100% not correct.
Yes.
Everybody has different skills, and some people may just be starting out. Like you said, it's good to verify their experience, and especially because I've met a lot of people that didn't have a website. They do great work, but I think it doesn't put enough credibility on their work, because people will ask me, what's your website? Oh yeah, here's my website. So I think having a website, if you're starting out, just takes you to another level, right? Because then you can tell your clients a little bit about yourself, like the reviews like you have on your website, because it's hard to do on social media, right? It's usually like reel snippets. So it's not really, those are like really just short periods of like information, right? So when you first started, did you have a website right away, or was it kind of just social media?
Yes, I did. I started off with my website first, and then my Yelp was one of the things that I really worked on.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, I wanted to say that a lot of things on social media are a lot of smoke and mirrors. Okay. So I know I've like let's just say I've done a service with somebody, and this person is totally different on social media, and in person they're like a blank body, just no interaction or anything like that.
Right.
And that's not the kind of person that I want to be. I want to be really truthful and honest and be like, this is me, and this is me all the time. So that's my integrity, is like, I'm really serious about my business. If you want to hire me for your hair and makeup team, you're going to get somebody that's very serious.
Right.
And that means I need to have information right away, because we have to, I'm not going to book somebody and then get a better booking later on and forget about this person.
Right.
Every single person is important to me. So, that's really important to kind of like, just do your research.
I agree again on that end, because I think there are a lot of people that are amazing on social media, right? They make amazing reels, but it doesn't mean that they're like super, super amazing in what they do, because some people like just have that talent to be on camera and be super funny. But again, for me, like you said, like I'm very passionate about my work, and a lot of my things I post on there is just to help my clients. I want to provide information that's helpful and provide that value, because that's what I do. and I'm not gonna be on there dancing on
right.
on Instagram. And I mean, I could dance, but not to that point. But yeah, like, so when you, I kind of want to get into marketing too. So when you first started, like, how did you market yourself to your clients?
God, I guess Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook, because then I would get a lot of, it's so funny because, I went to school, I went to school here in Hoopa Valley.
Okay.
And it was a smaller school, so everybody kind of knows everybody. And some people, like, they weren't your actual friends in high school, but then, like, once we got into Facebook, the Facebook world, then you became friends, and then I would start doing their stuff. And we never were friends in school.
Right.
We were acquaintances. But now I'm doing people from high school that, we haven't seen each other for years. But Facebook, I guess, would be the main one back then, like 2004, 2005. Well, actually, it was more like 2010 is when I really started putting myself out there as a professional makeup artist. And I didn't feel, I think somebody asked me I think I said one time, like, that I don't know how it came, but it said, if you're making money, if people are paying you for what you're doing, that means you're an artist. And because I didn't really feel that at first, I didn't. But once I started to, like, get, sometimes when I'm doing makeup, I don't know what I'm doing because the makeup will speak to me. It's so weird and so odd.
Yeah.
And something will just appear into my head, and then I go with it, and I'm talking to myself going, oh yeah, that, but it's because it's in here and I have to feel it.
Gotcha. Do you, because a little bit of my style, when I take photographs, I kind of explain the process to make the client comfortable. Do you ever, like, get in the moment where you're providing hair and makeup and you're explaining the process? Or
yes and no. It's kind of hard. Like remember the makeup class I was telling you about? See, a lot of people want to know, oh, what are you doing and how do you do that? But we don't got time for that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I do like to explain things in our virtual meeting. That's before our preview.
Gotcha.
And for the most part, almost all my brides say, I don't want to look overly done. I want to look natural. I want to look like me.
Right.
No problem, honey. You got the right makeup artist, because that's the kind of style that I am. I'm not the kind of style makeup artist that just packs a bunch of stuff on. I want my bride to look classic and timeless.
Absolutely.
And I want her makeup to stay on all day long and look fresh all day long. And so that's my technique. I use a corrective technique.
Interesting.
There's a lot of artists that work really fast and very inexpensive, but they're packing on a bunch of powder. And you can tell the difference.
Yeah, because, again, I don't want to put any names out there, but there was one time when the mother of the bride had her makeup done, and the mother of the bride was saying to me, like, after the makeup was done, it's like, it feels too cakey. What does that mean to you?
What that means is that they applied a lot of powder on top of powders. I don't really work with a lot of powders. I work with a lot of creams, because that kind of sinks into your skin and it looks more natural. And mother of the brides and grooms are my specialty. Mature women are one of my specialties, because they always come to me and say, well, I don't want to look 21. Well, they do, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, no worries, because I don't want to say I'm old or mature, but I'm more mature. Right. So I get that as well.
Yeah.
I also too don't want to be showing my wrinkles or showing, accentuating things that we don't need to be.
Yeah.
So they're always my favorite. Is mothers of the groom, mother of the bride, and grandmas. I love grandmas because they don't really understand that I know what it takes to kind of just perk them up a little bit. There's little things that we do and that doesn't mean packing on a bunch of makeup.
Yeah.
It's accentuating different things.
Yeah, that's great advice again too, because I think that's something that you learn over the years, like learn hands-on, right? And I tell this to a lot of the new photographers I work with, is that you can watch as much YouTube videos on YouTube, but it's going to be different once you get into the wedding day, and you're going to have situations where you just don't know what to do unless you've been in that situation before, right?
Right.
It's a learning experience because every single wedding is different. and every couple is different.
Right.
Right. So you have to be able to be flexible and adaptable if things doesn't go your way. And I think that's a lot of like traits that I think a lot of like makeup artists like yourself and photographers need to learn, is like you got to be able to like work on the fly sometimes.
Right.
Like you said, like that situation where you had other people last minute
Right.
at the wedding, wanted to get their makeup done. So,
and that's why I'm so thorough beforehand, because I don't want any surprises.
Right.
And neither do they. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time too, there has been a lot of mishaps and a lot of things that have happened to me. Okay. But all those things bad that have happened to me with clients and things like that and payments and stuff, those are learning experiences. So every single thing bad that has happened to me, I've taken that and I put it into a lesson, and I've tried not to make that same mistake again. So that's why I have a contract. I have the quote, I have everything I have. And my contract was by a lawyer, all of that stuff, because things have happened to me in the past. When somebody says, "Oh, can I just pay you on the day of?" Never. Why?
Yeah, that is
Because bad things have happened to me when I felt sorry for the client. And, you're not so confident in yourself back then. Now, if somebody says, "No, thank you, your services are too much for me," I said, "No problem. It's not a problem. Of course, I want your business.
Yeah.
But if you don't think that the quality of work that I'm going to give to you is worth that money, then no problem. It's okay."
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's because when I first started, I made that mistake. I was like, "Oh, you can pay me on the wedding day." And I realized really quickly, like, that's not the day you want to start asking for payments, because the bride's mind is, you don't want to stress her out, right? You want to be the person that
Takes the stress
off and make them comfortable. So asking for a pay, because I've even seen makeup artists like, "Oh, what's your Venmo account?" I'm like, "Oh, they ask for payment like on the same day?" And that's just too much stress for the bride, right?
There's so much things that can happen, go wrong with that. I've had a check been given to me and it's bounced.
Oh.
Okay. You have to wait around. When you've been working all day and on your feet, you're already packing up, you're hungry, you want to go. And like you said, the brides are busy doing something, and then they're asking you the amount and all that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that. I like everything to be, when I come in, we do the job, we know what we're going to do, we pack up and we're gone.
Exactly.
And I don't have to ask you for nothing.
That's yeah, I 100% agree with that. I usually ask like weeks in advance for full payment so we could take care of it, and we are just there to do our job.
Because like you said, my main goal and my main focus is to give the bride the least amount of stress possible, especially when it comes to hair and makeup.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about marketing again. So what if social media didn't exist? How would you market yourself to clientele? Like, what's some of the ways that you would go about it?
Giving my customers, my clients that I've worked on, the best customer service, the best job ever. So that way it's like the old school way of word of mouth.
That's great advice. I think sometimes people don't think about that. Word of mouth, because now like everything's about social media, right? They always, you watch YouTube videos and like, "Oh, you got to get on social media, you got to promote yourself." But the fundamentals of business is still through referrals. I think in our industry, providing, great service, and then, having them like post reviews,
right?
Because your clients wants to see that, right? So you have a Yelp page, right? And I think that's really important, because when people search your business, especially if it's like local, having a Yelp page really helps. Like how has that helped you?
It's helped tremendously, because it's telling other potential clients what I offer and how I treat you and what I've done for you. So, I think, and Yelp has been amazing for me, because I know when I go places, it's a restaurant, look on Yelp. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's people's honest opinions about you. And I couldn't thank Yelp more, because that's really where it's been the most.
Awesome. That's great. In terms of your business right now, like, what's next for you? What's something down the line that you're looking forward to?
I really want to build a solid team of artists where I can go in and just concentrate on the bride. Okay, concentrate on the bride, have everybody else, be concentrating on the bridal party, or maybe the bride and the maid of honor or the mother of the bride, the real important ones, because mother of the brides and mother of the grooms are as equally as important, in my opinion. And so a really strong team where I can, be sending them out to do jobs, maybe if I can't do it. See, because in this business, I've learned that I've come into contact with other makeup artists, and that they're makeup artists because they're wearing the black and they're pulling this stuff. And it's happened to me where in passing, I'm like, hi. And they're like, they just give me the dirty look, or you're in a hotel and you see other makeup artists and
they don't even say hi.
They don't want to, they don't want nothing to do with you. And I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Because networking is so important.
Yeah.
So important. I've been to some networking meetings, meetups, and they have done so many wonders for me and for my business. And I've met so many awesome vendors, in this industry. And if I have to say anything, I think that I can't do all the jobs. So if I'm not available, I want to book my client with somebody else that I know is a great artist, instead of saying, no, I'm not available, I'm sorry. I would like to find somebody for you. I would like to book somebody for you. And I think that more makeup artists need to kind of like let their egos go and know that it's not a competition between us.
Right.
You're doing makeup and I'm doing makeup. We're both doing the same thing. So why don't, what's the harm of connecting with each other and networking?
Right. I think that goes a long way, because I do the same thing. I have a team now, but if my team are not available, I always go above and beyond. It's like, you know what? Let me try to find someone that fits your style, because sometimes not every client is my style. Right. So I will recommend other photographers, and it's not because, it's not an ego thing. When I think sometimes a lot of photographers don't recommend other photographers because they think it's taking business away from them. But in the long term, it's going to come back tenfold to you if you recommend other photographers, because they're like, oh, Mike referred another client to me. Well, then I'm going to do the same thing back. It's reciprocal, right? And when you connect with other competitors, it's harsh to say, but there are other businesses that sometimes you don't want to work with other businesses. But for me, I don't get that, right?
Right.
Because we're such a small niche that everybody knows each other typically. Like, for example, when we had the bridal show here, I kind of already knew everybody. Yeah. But I did notice that some people, like usually what I do at like bridal shows, I try to go around and just have a conversation, right, with everybody that's in the venue, or at the bridal show, because the bridal show is a great way.
Awesome.
Not to just connect with your clientele, but also connect with other vendors.
Yes.
And because referral is big business. Yes. And I still, to this day, I still got a lot of referrals. I have other methods now with Google Ads and stuff like that. But I think when people refer, like if I referred you to my client, most of the time, like 90%, I think I would say is like they will trust me because I'm recommending you, right? Do you feel the same way?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And I love when I work with photographers that I already know or I've worked with before, or they, like you said, they recommended me, because we kind of know each other already. And we, like Allie, Allie. Allie, yeah. So like, I love working with her because we're friends and I know her style, and, and if I need to, I can call her like, hey, what time, if the bride didn't give me the information right away, I can call her, ask her like, what time are you starting? And it gives me a little bit of insight. But I think networking is so important, and there's enough work for all of us.
Right. So what's some of your advice in how to really connect with other vendors?
Well, network meetups, like I said, I went to a couple of them by Thirsty Horse Mobile. Oh, yes. Okay. Vivian, she's so awesome. She put together a few of them. And I'd like to do something like that with makeup artists, because, being a small business owner and a makeup artist, it's like a small community. Right. And you want to like kind of sometimes vent or let your frustrations out with people that know exactly what you're talking about, or makeup, or we want to get me with the makeup artist and we start talking about makeup, it's on. You know what I mean? Right. We're just going to keep going on, and you learn things from you learn different things from different people.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, just maybe if there's some meetups, and I mean, honestly, the first meetup, the network meetup that I went with Vivian, I was kind of shy, and I was like, oh my God. But the good thing is that my cousin is the general manager at Dave & Buster's where she held it at.
Right.
So one thing was he's the general manager there. Second thing was they happened to be childhood friends. I didn't know that. It all came out that she knew my cousin. So then when I went to the network meeting, he was there, and then he introduced me to her because I didn't know her. I met her through another makeup artist.
Okay.
So that kind of eased everything up. And then it was like, and then knowing her, and then getting to know her more and her personality. And then everybody that was there, it's so awesome. And I love those network meetups. But if you are a makeup artist, hairstylist, whatever vendor, and you're shy about going to them, just do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree, because I've been to luckily there's a lot of photography meetups in my industry. So it's always great because, like, you know, if you're a solo business owner, sometimes like when you're talking to like your friends and family, they don't really understand like the details of what we do. So when you meet other people that are like-minded, like other makeup artists, it's like you can chat about everything.
Yes.
You know, you learn about other techniques or
something that works for them.
Yeah, works for them, you know. So it's a great way to really connect with them, because it's, you know, they understand what you're going through. Right. You can learn maybe some business tips from other business owners and things like that. But yeah, like I'd say even at bridal shows, like, you know, having that just walk. The thing that I don't get sometimes, even at wedding days, right? And what I always like recommend to other vendors, that even other photographers that have worked with me, is like, take the time to like even just have a conversation with all the vendors. You know, just take 5 minutes.
Right.
If you don't know anyone there, just talk to the vendors, because they're gonna, you know, learn their names and try to just have a conversation, because it's gonna make them feel comfortable. Because I've walked to some weddings where the vendors didn't want to talk to me, and it's just so awkward. We're there to provide a service, and we all work together. Have you ever had that experience?
Yes, and not only that, is that it's a community, and so we're gonna see each other. I mean, we'll see each other other places. I think you've done a couple of my clients, and you know, so it's always nice to see a familiar face when you're somewhere. You're like, oh, you're in a different location. You could be in, you know, Corona or wherever, and you're like, oh my God, you know, it always feels good. But yes, like I said, I've been into many situations where the makeup artist or the hairstylist act real kind of stuck up, and it's like, that's kind of funny to me, you know? And as it is, I mean, people think that I'm not a shy person, but I really am a shy person. So it takes a lot to be like, hi. And then when they don't say nothing back, you're like, oh, I feel stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, with us, sometimes I do feel it when I work with other videographers, right? Or even if I'm working with a DJ sometimes, and they just, you know, and I get it. I'm trying to be understanding, because they may not be as like open as I am, you know, like I'm very open-minded. I try to talk to everybody, but at least have a little bit of like greeting, you know, conversation.
Like you said, we're all here for the same purpose. We're here for the client, and you know, whatever you're doing, your video, you know, whatever you're doing, we're all doing it for the same thing. And I think that it just might be a better experience if we all kind of work together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about like maybe some tips for makeup artists that will help them provide a better service or even a better quality of work.
I think really, really knowing a lot of information, you know, so the things that I ask my clients when we have our virtual meeting is like, what are their expectations? I ask them to send me pictures of inspiration to see what they're, you know, they want. Then I look at them, and sometimes, I mean, they have like hair down to here, and they want like, and so we have to be realistic about the expectations as well.
Right.
So, you know, learning what they want, what their vision is, because see, sometimes it's happened to me a lot of times, not just sometimes, but a lot of times.
Right.
I have a client sit in my chair, and let's just say, for instance, she's the maid of honor or a bridesmaid. And I said, oh, well, what were you thinking? Well, I don't know. You're the expert. You know makeup. I don't. Well, first of all, yes, that's true. I am a makeup artist, but I don't know your personality. I don't know if you're an everyday makeup wearer. I don't know if you're only, a little CC cream and a little mascara type of girl. I don't know, I don't know those things. So a picture of inspiration kind of gives me a gauge to see like, or they say, oh, I want it real natural. And then they show me this picture where it's like so dramatic. And I'm like, this is not natural. Right. But asking a lot of questions and getting to know a little bit about what their expectations are is going to be key. So, and not doing what you think is going to be good for them. It's a collaboration. Right. When I'm with a bride, it's not just about my skills, but it's also about her expectations, what she wants. And we kind of put those together and then we create something. The flowers, the dress, the hairstyle, the location, the time of the wedding, all of those things are extremely important. And those are the reasons why we ask those questions, because it makes a big difference. From a garden wedding in the morning to an evening wedding, in a ballroom. Those are all, that's a different makeup.
Right.
So, we have to know the most information as possible. Have you had your makeup professionally done before? No. Okay. Well, it's going to be a little bit more than usual because the camera only picks up about 30% of the makeup. So, you want it to actually show up in there. So if it's somebody that doesn't really wear, oh no, I don't wear makeup ever. Just a little bit of gloss. Well, of course it's going to feel a little bit different because it's more than you would normally.
Right.
But you're also taking professional pictures. You're going to be, doing a production all day long. So things have to be a little bit amplified. And explaining those things to your client because you have the experience and know about that.
Right.
That's what makes the big difference. And they trust you. I have a lot of brides, when they come for the preview, it's a whole full-on session. So it takes about 3 hours. So it's not like just, let's see what looks good. No, we do the whole thing because I have all the information before she comes in, does the whole hair and makeup. But what I do is I always like to play it safe. And that means that I give myself room for where I can bump it up.
So what is a preview?
Can you explain that? So a preview is we do this 4 to 6 weeks before the wedding, and you come in and we make the appointment, and we do the whole makeup, everything from top to bottom, the hair top to bottom. We put in the veil if you need to, anything you want to put in the hair, we put it in, and it's a preview to see what your makeup's going to look like on the day of. Then I have a conversation with you and I have a follow-up with you and I say, well, how did you like everything? Oh, and most of the time, 99.9% of the time, they're like, I think I want a little bit more. Gotcha. But see, I left myself room for that because if I go all balls out and just like give them glitter and big lashes and liner and all that, it might be like, this is a little bit too much for me. But if I go to a medium, place, I have still room to either build up or also bring down.
Oh, interesting. Do you always provide a preview before?
I always recommend it. I can do a wedding without it, but I don't like to do that because I want to know. I want to know about her. I want to know what she looks like. Right. I want to know her style. And so I really don't recommend it because at the same time too, you don't want to, as a bride, you don't want no surprises. What if it's something that you didn't really care for? We didn't really care for that lip color. But if we did the preview and you said, oh, you know what, Joann, I want a little bit more bolder lips. Well, write it down on my notes and make note of that. And then I'm able to do that instead of like, oh no, I don't like this, because it can happen, take it off and put it on. Then you're all red around there and I like to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, I think that's great. Having a preview. So like on the photography side, we have an engagement session. And so it's kind of the same thing. I always recommend it because I get to actually meet them in person. Because most of the time now we're meeting on Zoom or FaceTime, but it's different when, I meet you in person and we actually take photos. So, I get to know more about your personality, what you guys like, and also like maybe like, your facial features. Some people may not like this side of the face. I always ask that, or like, is there a certain look you're looking for? And also too, like I'm sure you do this too, is like also kind of educating them on makeup. And so I educate them on photos, like how to take like in terms of like what's more flattering for the wedding day. Right. And I give them advice on like, okay, this is probably your best type of pose. So I think it's great advice, because I think on the photography side too, it's just kind of the same way for us. It's to have that engagement session makes a big impact, because now they have a little bit of time with me. So they see my face in person, because there's been times when I first started, like some people, they don't want an engagement session. And I show up, I'm like, where's the bride? Like, I don't even know who's the bride.
Exactly. Awkward.
Because I can't remember their face.
Right.
So it's so awkward for me when I come and I don't get to meet them in person before, right?
Right. You feel a little bit more comfortable with whoever you're working with. Like I said earlier, makeup can be intimidating. And honestly, like I've gone and walked into bridal room, the rooms where we're going to do makeup, and I'm full face and hair and makeup because, at the same time too, this is what I do. And I've gotten looks and I've gotten people that have attitudes with me, but because they don't know me. The bride, my best friend already by then.
Exactly.
And at the same time too, I also do, I think you asked this earlier, but I do give them tips, do's and don'ts, what to do. Right. You don't want to color your hair 1 week before. You don't want to get waxed or threaded you want to do it like 3 days at least not the day before. You want to have a good manicure. You want to have a good pedicure. You want to eat something filling but light. All those things are. I send those to them beforehand with like the preview, all the preview information when we set that up, and then I give them some tips on what to do and what not to do.
That's awesome. Let me ask you about your gear, because I think that's also kind of interesting, especially when you go to the hotel or the venue. Like, so what do you bring, like a case, like a rolling case?
Yes.
Like, what's kind of like your go-to?
My case is about 50 pounds. Okay. It's a double stacker. And it's an amazing case, but you cannot find this case anywhere. This is an old case. My husband got it at a yard sale from another makeup artist up in the Hollywood Hills. My hairstylist friend, she did find me one, and I use that for parts. And my husband kind of like refurbishes it, but it's perfect for me, just the way that it opens up and the way it holds everything I work out of it. So I have a 50 pound makeup case, about a 25-pound hair kit. I have my big chair, my light, my table. And and before I used to carry all of that on my back and I would walk to the location. But now I have a wagon.
Nice.
But everything fits perfectly in my wagon. And then I roll it up. If I have stairs, at least I can roll it up to wherever, to the stairs and then take it up. But it's and that's why I charge a travel and setup fee, because it's a lot.
Yeah, because when you mentioned about the table, like I think that's pretty smart, because sometimes I see the makeup artists, like they're trying to use like the dining table or whatever table there is, but it's like super low, or it's like it's a big table and like they're trying to picture it over to the where the mirror is, and it's like, man, why don't you just bring your own table?
I need to control my environment when I'm working, because like you said, I'm not bending over. My back is not going to take that. I need to have the chair, and I see a lot of makeup artists that they don't have these things. They're using my light because they don't have a light. But like, I need to know that wherever I work, I can see what I'm doing.
Right.
So that's why I've always, ever since day one, always have my equipment. It's in my trunk, and wherever I go, it's there, because I can't risk that. I can't risk setting up in a small little tiny space like this. And it's happened to me before, where they try to, to sit me here or there. And, in order for you to do your craft the right way, you have to also be comfortable.
Right.
So I'm in comfortable clothes all the time. I don't wear heels. I'm wearing my tennis shoes. We're standing up all day long. I mean, I'm sorry if I don't look cute in the pictures, but I'm comfortable, and this is the way I can do my job.
Right. And you mentioned about the chair. You're talking about like a high chair, right? And why does that make a difference?
Because if you're on a lower chair, you have to bend over. And so you're bending over all the time, and that really puts a lot of stress on your back. And I have to have them like about up to here,
like eye level?
Yeah, their face has to be eye level to me.
That makes sense.
And then even a chair for hair. I don't carry a hair chair because usually there's like a short chair. Having a short chair is not really the issue. It's having the higher chair.
It makes sense. And in terms of like the wagon, because I actually use a wagon also, it makes a huge difference, especially when you're bringing all your gear and like you're gonna have to like maybe go up a hill, right? Especially when you're going up the hill. Like if you're just carrying your gear, man, it's tough, right? Because like you only have two hands. So I've seen photographers where they're like trying to carry everything at once. Just get a cart. You know, they're maybe $30 to $50. There's probably more expensive ones, but I mean, it's so convenient to have one now because you can roll it. You know, you can it makes things easier to carry, transport. You know, highly recommend if you know
very much
if you're a makeup artist, that makes a huge difference.
Because our arms and our shoulders and our back, we need that. And these things are heavy. Yeah. You have to have something. You have to have you always have to be prepared with whatever may come. Yep. So you have to have it in the kit. My kit is not like overly stocked or anything like that. It's just what I need. But there's a lot of things that we need. And some people are like, whoa, you have a lot of stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, it's not just like I have one or two things. Because people tend to think that when you do their hair and makeup, it's like the way they do their own hair and makeup. So they have maybe 4 products for their makeup and their hair, they do it real quick. Well, that's when it comes down to a professional, we don't do that. Yeah. We're gonna, especially for hairstyling. So people will say, I just want curls. It doesn't matter if you just want curls, because I have to go through every section. We have to apply product, because not only do the curls have to look good, but they have to last. You have to set it. You have to, frame your face, and that takes time. Yeah. So I want people to really understand when it comes to hair and makeup, we need at least 1 hour per service. Hair for me takes me a little bit longer, and sometimes my hairstyle is a little bit longer depending on the style. If you want Hollywood waves, I have that as an extra thing. The real Hollywood waves, the ones that look amazing, it takes about 3 hours to do. And I won't even do it myself. I'll hire somebody else, because it is a lot of work and it's extra.
It's a long process.
It's a very long process.
Wow. Amazing. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit. And let's talk about like how you manage your clients, right? Do you have like an online system, or do you have like software that you use to manage your clients?
Yeah, so I have a program called 17 Hats. And so then once I get inquiry sent to like either if they go to my website, they can fill out the contact form. That's basically the questionnaire. So now I've got all the information already, and then I can go ahead and plug in a quote to them and send that right off to them. Right. So they get the quote. If they and then if they feel like they want to move on further with the process, they accept the quote. We send an invoice for 50%, and then they're booked in my calendar. So they're booked in my calendar for 2 days, and that's why it's so important that when people sometimes they'll say, I want to see about my wedding date, but can I just do the preview first? Okay, well, here's the problem with that. We can do that. But what about if I do the preview, and from the time I do the preview, I book your date. So when you book me at that time, I'm saving a preview date and the wedding date. The wedding date goes right into my calendar, and you're booked. If I can fit other people into that schedule, if it's a small wedding or whatever, yes. But if not, then I know I can't. But if you want to do it the other way, I might not have your date available, and we're going to do the preview for nothing.
Right. So has some clients ask you like, you know what, I'm not 100% sure. Can I just do the preview for now?
And yes, they have asked that. And then I explained to them that it's not going to secure your date for the wedding. So obviously they don't want that to happen. And then they'll book it.
Gotcha. Yeah. I highly recommend having like a software like 17 Hats. I use something different like Honeybook. Okay. Kind of similar, but yeah, once you're established, the client experience matters so much. Right. Because when I first started, I would send paper document contracts. And I would just send it a PDF, but it's so inconvenient. Like I would send them a PDF document, they would have to print it out and then rescan it to me or take a photo. Right. And for them, like, again, guys, you have to think about as a client, as a bride or the groom, they have so much other things to do and to think about. Having them print out the contract, it's like extra work for them.
Right.
So with like your software and our software, it makes things easier for them to view the contract and for them to make payments,
right.
Automatic payments. So for me, that was a game changer. Looking back at your career, was there anything that like you invested in that was like, you know what, that changed the game for me?
Well,
or maybe even like a course or something that you took, a seminar or something.
Yeah, my business coach, that really changed the game for me too, because she gave me more insight onto like quality and experiences for clients, and that's so important. I mean, you can find a cheaper makeup artist. You can go down to the swap meet in Pomona and get your makeup done, but we give an experience.
Right.
It's an experience, and it's different. So that I've never regret investing in that. I don't regret investing in my system, because that keeps me on track and it keeps me very organized. So like before, I used to have a paper calendar, and then my phone. I never use my phone. I always use my paper calendar, because if I wrote it in, then that means it's there. Right. But then I got rid of that after the pandemic. And so, I feel so bad for people that they'll call me last minute and be like, my makeup artist canceled on me, or my makeup artist didn't show up or something. That's really heartbreaking to me. And that shows me that this person isn't a professional makeup artist, because who would do that to somebody on their wedding day? Who would not show up for them on their wedding day? Yeah. That is devastating. So that really breaks my heart. But at the same time too, you have to be proactive in knowing who you're booking. So if you're going to call a makeup artist and say, oh, I want to book you for my wedding, and she says, okay, where's the address? Okay, sure. Okay, I'll be there. And that's it. They didn't take a retainer. They didn't have you sign a contract. Those are red flags right there, because these people will take another job that pays more and leave you hanging because they got a 20, maybe they didn't even get a deposit.
Yeah.
My retainer is not going to be no $50. My retainer is going to be 50% of all the services that you're being booked. Why? Because I also have to book out my hairstylist. She has to take the day out of her at the salon. She has to not have no clients, and she's committed to me. So I'm not just dealing with myself. I'm also dealing with another person. And we can't have that, oh, you know what? Somebody dropped out. Somebody's not going to get their hair and makeup anymore. Well, I'm sorry. You could have to replace that person, because my artist, my hairstylist is already, knowing that she booked out her date for 5 people, and we're not going to sit here and have her only do 4 people. You either have to swap her out or just still pay for it.
And is that non-refundable?
Yes.
Why is it non-refundable?
Because we've made a commitment to set your date. She set her date. And we can't take any other clients. Yeah,
I think that's a good thing too. If you're starting out, make sure you take a deposit, like you said, that is non-refundable, because you're saving that date, right? And I think that's one thing like maybe clients don't understand. So you have to kind of explain that to them, because we only have so many dates available. So when we commit to a client, we are committing that entire day. Because if you say, like, let's say you take a client and you're like, yo, I'm not going to take a deposit, but what if they cancel on you?
Exactly.
Then now you're losing money. Like, they cancel on you 2 days before. Now, all the people that had contacted you prior, you could have booked them.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's why it's so important that you have a system, like you said, having a deposit, having the balance due weeks before, or whatever your process is, to have it all paid out. So there's but yeah, that thing, that's one of the things that maybe some new artist comes to realization that is super important.
Yeah, the back end, the business part is, I think, after you've got your craft, if you really own your craft and you really know what you're doing, then the business part about it is like really the big thing. If you really want to be your own boss and you really want to do your own and be on your own, you have to know the business part of it. And I mean, too bad there wasn't like just a business class that you could take. I mean, I'm sure there is. And that's kind of one of the regrets, me not being so much more focused on learning things. But but I'm trying, and I do,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm getting I got an LLC.
Nice.
I'm getting insurance, and I'm trying to button up everything so that way I'm
Exactly.
protected as well, because you just never know. Like, you can have the most sweetest, wonderfulest person in your presence and then turn around and be the most evilest,
Yep.
awfulest person. And it's
Exactly.
happened to me.
Exactly.
So you cannot really trust anybody. Not that you can't trust anybody, but you have to have yourself insured, or you have to you have to be, you gotta get your butt covered.
Yeah. And the way I look at it is that, especially if you're 100% full time, right? The way I think about it when I send contracts is, well, this is my lifeline. This is
Yes.
all I do. I have bills to pay, like we talked about earlier. Like, this is how I, make an income, and this is how I support my family. And so don't be scared about sending a contract, right? Because it protects you in case something happens. Make sure you put every little detail in there that
Yes.
pertains to, making sure you get paid, right? Because, especially during the pandemic, I mean, it happened to me many times. Fortunately, I had the contract, and I was reasonable with some of my clients,
Right.
but, at the end of the day, like, you have to live off of your business.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes the unexpected things come up, and you understand that, and you want to be the most understanding person. But at the same time, too, some people just think about themselves and not about, like, you as a business. I don't know. That's one thing in having your own business, is that people just think they can do or say whatever they want to you, because you don't have a big sign on the top of your building saying Joann Salgado Makeup Artistry,
Yeah.
and that it could be hurtful at times, but at the same time too, you gotta know your worth, and you gotta know what you bring to the table, and what I have to understand that, or I know that not everybody can do my job.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like,
know?
one of the things one of my second photographers, told me, like, recently, that when he does his own wedding, sometimes he feels like he's just there to help, like, the help, right? That kind of, like, negative stigma that, they don't care about you. You're just there to do a job. That is true in a way. We are there to do a job, but, don't put yourself to that level,
Right.
Because you are an amazing artist. You're a photographer. You have your own business. So I think sometimes people feel like we're not, we're kind of just there to help, like,
Right.
the servers. And I mean, everybody that is providing a service on the wedding day, everybody's important. So don't feel insecure
Right.
that it's like that you don't feel important to the bride. I'm sure they are very thankful that everybody's there, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where, like, right after I'm done, it's like you said, I'm like, now I'm a blank space or whatever. But I don't take that personally
Yeah.
anymore, because I was there to do that job, and I know that I did that job to the best of my ability. And the only thing that's important is that she felt good about it, and she felt comfortable with what she was wearing and how, what she felt. So even, like, I'll send some follow up, like, oh, can you tell me about your experience, or is there anything I could have done? And then I don't hear nothing back.
Right.
And you know what? At first it would kind of get me a little bit down, but at the same time too, I'm getting people that I've done makeup for 10, 12 years ago calling me now still. And that is a lot. Like, that means everything to me. Yeah, I'm going to do somebody on Saturday, and I did her wedding, I think she said 9 years ago.
Wow.
And that is, like, the best, like, gift I could get, is like, wow, you still think 9 years ago you thought
Yeah.
that I was good, and you're still coming to me. So it balances itself out.
That's awesome. I mean, it's just amazing when, clients, like your clients from 9 years ago, contacts you and remembers you
Yes.
of the job you did.
Right.
Does that happen very often for you?
It does. It does. I do have clients that I've been working with for many years. We always start off with an engagement session, then the wedding, then the maternity, then the family. And that's all. God, like, it gives me chills, and it makes my heart happy, because they really truly trust me.
Yeah, that's great. It's kind of, similar to photography too, because there's like a continuing service we provide, right? Because everybody wants photos. So it's the same thing. We do their engagement, wedding, and then eventually maternity.
Right.
You know, they have kids.
Right.
They have more kids. I've had one client who I have done from the beginning, engagement, wedding. Now they have 3 kids. It's
Wow.
insane. Like
Wow.
you know, they just keep coming back. They
Yeah.
have bigger families to foot like the entire family. So it's very rewarding, and I always feel like, you know, it's that's why I love to do this, because I get to connect with my clients in a way that I'm able to see their family grow.
Right.
Right. And I'm able to like show, and I mean, we kind of have stories sometimes when we chat it up and when we have their family sessions, like, oh, I remember that time when you were on like, you know, the dance floor, like,
Yeah.
breaking your back or whatever. So yeah, I still have those photos, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, those, I mean, I'm sure for you, cause you've been doing this for a very long time. So let's ask you some personal questions now,
Okay.
some interesting ones. So if money wasn't an option for you, right? Let's say you have millions of dollars in your bank account. Would you still be doing hair and makeup?
I think I might invest in a company, and I could be the CEO of it and run things. But I don't know, if I was not doing makeup, I seriously do not know what I would be doing. I probably might. I don't know. I started painting, which I know it sounds, for me it sounds odd, because even though I'm a makeup artist, I've never been good with actually drawing or painting. My penmanship isn't very good. But over the last year, I started watching a lot of Bob Ross, and I started doing paintings. And my
Yeah.
family thinks that my paintings are just so amazing. For me, I don't think that they're all that amazing. It makes me so happy when I paint, and you get so excited, and every painting I just put up on my dresser, and I look at that one, and the other ones are in the closet, and I'll just look at it and critique it. But I never thought myself as an art, like that kind of an artist.
Right.
But he makes it kind of so easy to where you're like, wow, this really came out like a landscape. So if I wasn't doing makeup, I'd probably be like maybe with my family on a compound in a tropical island, and we'd just be like, you know,
On the beach.
on the beach, yeah, chilling.
That's awesome. What advice would you give your younger self? You know, when you first started, like, what would you give that younger version of yourself?
My younger version of myself is what I would say is love yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. I did so much self-destruction, so much self-hate for so many years. I haven't talked bad to myself in over 19 months. And when I would drink and then I'd be sick, I'd be like telling myself how stupid I am, what an idiot I am. And I never truly loved myself. I felt like I needed the love from my husband or my family. But that's one thing, is like, I grew up fast, 17 years old, married.
Right.
And then being a mom and trying to be the best that I could be, trying to give everything to my kids, trying to be, have a good household. And I'm happy to say that, I have good boys. They're great guys. They have their families and they're positive role models, and they do good with their life. And my husband's a good man. But for me, I would say, Joann, just love yourself. Be easy on yourself. You know that song by Adele, Go Easy on Me? Like go easy on me. And that's to myself, because I've never been easy on myself. I've always been so hard on myself. And I've always thought that, I didn't really amount to much. But looking at my family, I know I've amounted to a lot, because, I have a great family, and I'm very proud of my family.
So what keeps you motivated and inspired to keep doing, amazing work?
I think what motivates me is the need for people to want to look their best. And like I said earlier, that I guess that fills my confidence up. It fills my confidence when somebody says, "Oh my God," like I've had people say, "I've never looked better before." And because I have that eye, I guess, to where I can make, I mean, I could, like, I haven't done your makeup in my head because you're a guy.
Maybe I should try. I've never had makeup done on me,
but I when I'm talking with somebody and I'm sitting here talking with them, I'm usually doing their makeup in my head. So, I mean, I don't know. I just love to make people feel good about themselves. And that's really what motivates me, and then being in this building, and it's a wedding venue, and that, it feels good. And I love it here.
That's great. So you've been sober for 19 months. So what do you do for self-care and some recuperation? Like, what's your, because I know it's, being an artist, it's tough sometimes physically, right? You wake up early and you're on your feet for hours. I mean, you're literally just standing, and like sometimes you have to kind of lean over and bend down. So what do you do for rest and recuperation?
For self-care, I exercise daily. I'm trying to eat better, drink more water. I go to sleep very early. I turn off my phone at 7:30 and I don't look at it, like I said earlier. So I get a good night's rest. And so the next morning I'm like, I have the energy. I'm not like all groggy. Me and my husband also like to take at least like one trip a year for like our anniversary. We just came back from Mexico City, which was an amazing city. Nice. And so beautiful. And so, I mean, have you ever been?
I've never been to Mexico.
Oh my God. Like the architect and the buildings, they're 300-400 years old, and everything's still like that. Wow. In the historic district. So we like to, I feel like it's really important for people, like anybody that has a full-time job, and you're every day, the ins and outs of the hustle and the bustle of work, and you have kids, and we're always on go. I think it's so important for you to take at least a week off and, just decompress, go somewhere where it makes you happy, not worry about, the bills or whatever, whatever's going on in your life. I think it's really important for everybody, young couples, to, when me and my husband were younger, we used to the boys would always go to my mother-in-law's house for the weekend, like at least once a month. And we would spend alone time and have our own time, because kids, oh my God, having little kids is just like, I'm hungry. Like, oh my God, that's all I do is feed you, And so it's nice to not have to worry about all of that stuff. And I think it's really important for everybody to at least take 1 week off, maybe 2 weeks during the year, every 6 months, and just, have some you time and not really worry about, what's going on. Although when I am on vacation, it seems that my phone and my bookings are crazy. So I better go on another vacation, because I didn't stop working when I was in Mexico City. Oh, wow. I wasn't physically doing makeup, but I was booking and inquiries and quotes and all of that stuff. So I'm always working.
Yeah, what's interesting is whenever I'm on a gig or I'm on like yesterday, I was out doing video interviews literally from like 8 to like 6 p.m., right? I mean, we traveled to Palmdale, we went to Yucaipa, and then eventually in Moreno Valley. So we did 3 interviews for...
That is a big distance.
Yeah, big distance. So we drove a lot. I had to break down and set up. So it was a long day, but the entire time, my phone was blowing up. And so I tried to, and we'll get into this too, is like managing your time wisely, right? Because as a business owner, sometimes there's a lot of things happening in the back end, and you have family, you have kids, you have other responsibilities. So on the wedding day, or even when I'm doing a gig, I try not to answer my phone, because it's a reflection on my professionalism. Right. Because if I'm on my phone and answering emails or stuff like that, like my client's like, "What are you doing? You're here to do a job, right?" So I'm sure you feel the same way in terms of being professional. Like, how do you manage your time? Because I mean, you have 2 kids, right? I
have 2 kids. They're older. Yeah. They're older. I have my grandkids, and I pick them up about once a week. My 2 other ones, and the 2 of them live there at the house still. So, and his mom is on maternity leave right now. So before she went on maternity leave, I was also babysitting, like 4 days out of the week. Yeah. So how do I manage it? I mean, I'm the kind of person that, though, if you do inquire on something, I'm going to try to get there as soon as possible, because I don't have another job, right? So I'm not like those people that are like, oh, if I didn't get to you today, I'm gonna respond to everybody on Monday. I don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Let me touch base on that. That's one of my pit.
Right.
I try not to comment on that.
Right.
Like again, I don't even like talk bad about anyone. But one thing I do have to say about that is when I see that on social media. Again, this is my opinion. It feels like you are being unprofessional.
Yes.
When you post something about, oh, I can't respond to any inquiries for about a week because blah, 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 whatever reason. When I'm looking at that as a client, that looks very unprofessional.
Yes, I agree.
Right? Yeah, because it's like, you're a business. What if I'm trying to book you for a wedding and you have some other weird reason why you can't answer your phone? And I've had clients contact me because they had called like 2 other photographers and they didn't answer the phone.
Yep.
And I get it. Maybe you are busy on a wedding day, but I've had other clients also tell me like, oh, I sent an email and they didn't respond after a week.
Right.
I'm like, that is way too long,
yes.
right?
I've heard that a lot, especially I remember when I was doing retail and our national sales meeting, they're like, if you don't get that client, somebody else is going to get the client. That's why we did a lot of the traffic stopping. We stop them and have them sit down and you pat the chair and then they feel comfortable, right? And that's always stood in my mind. So I don't do that. And I don't speak to my clients over Instagram. I don't speak to them over Instagram and tell them stuff because I've had somebody do that and I feel like I'm your client and we are doing business together.
Correct.
Speak to me, or how do I do whatever I need to do with your business? I got to go look back on stories, or I got to look back on your highlights. I don't think that's professional. So I try to get to my clients, whoever, like before you got here, somebody was asking me, and right away I'm trying to do it before we talk because I feel like I know when I'm asking for something, and maybe sometimes I really need to know. I don't want to keep people, I don't want to be waiting, and I don't want to keep people waiting either.
Absolutely.
So I try to be very, very prompt and efficient when it comes to people Googling me, questions or Yelp. I try to respond very promptly. But at the same time too, that's what I learned this. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb about an hour. I go to bed at 8:30. So I put on at 7:30 because prior to me doing this, I would check my phone at night and then a client would ask me something or tell me something. And I couldn't go to sleep. I'm having nightmares that I forgot my kid. And I thought that's not healthy. And it's not healthy for me. Yeah. And my brain's still working because I am very passionate about my business and I want to give you the best customer service ever. And I have nightmares about that, like me not showing up or me not being able to do the job. And so I've really learned to do not disturb. And whatever happened, and then at 7 o'clock, I'll put it back on.
Yeah, that's a great tip because I started doing that this year because I'm a little bit of a workaholic. So I would just keep my phone on and have the message sound on the entire night. And sometimes I sleep at 9 and my phone just keeps blowing up text messages from clients or a new inquiry. And I'm like, man, in my mind, I got to respond right away. But I'm like, it's affecting my sleep.
Right.
My recovery, and I wake up tired. So now I just like you said, sometimes I just turn my phone off completely. We
got to have boundaries too.
Yeah, exactly. Because we need sleep too. And so the way I think about it now is you know what, they can wait if they put an inquiry because I've had even last night I have somebody inquire at midnight, and then they send me a text message. I'm like. Well, I get it. Maybe you're night shift, right? You're working nights or something. I get it, but not everybody's on your schedule, right?
No, and it seems like that's around 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. That seems to be the busy part of people inquiring to you. And I'm just, and like you said, I don't know what they're doing, but I go to bed early and, I can't deal with that. So that's why I started doing that. And it's gotten so much better. And I don't look at my social media or anything like that before I go to bed.
Yeah, that's great advice. Let's go back to travel. So let me ask you 2 questions, 2 parts. What's your favorite place to travel? And what's a new location or destination you would love to go to?
So we like traveling to the Mexican Caribbean, Playa del Carmen, Riviera Maya. Those are our favorite places. And then, like I said, for this anniversary that just passed, we started talking about places. And then Mexico City, my hairstylist friend and my partner, she had one. She said, "You'll love it." And so we decided, and we don't usually do cities. We usually do like the, beach, tropical places. And so we loved it, and I would definitely go back and visit more because there wasn't enough time to see everything. But the places that we like, I mean, we really like nature, like Yosemite or Yellowstone, or I love Sedona. I want to go back to Sedona. Those are all, I know those are all the United States. We're not really travelers to travel more than 5 hours in an airplane. I'm getting better. I used to have a lot of anxiety, but since I stopped drinking, I don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have panic attacks. But so we're like, a 4 to 5 hour. We've been to Hawaii. It was beautiful. I would like to maybe go to a different, maybe more or less populated island. But we love the outdoors. We love camping. We love, being with our kids and the grandkids and fishing and outdoor stuff like that.
That's awesome. Because I love nature myself. So we try to go to Yosemite every single year.
I've never been.
Oh, you've never been? Yeah, it's one of the wonders, I think, of the world, because it's one of the national parks that's been very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very pristine. It hasn't changed too much. So it's, of course, built roads over the years, but it's very protected. So when you go there, it's like, holy smoke.
Like if you're back in time.
Yeah, like the cabins, like there's still old cabins there from way back in 1940s when, I can't remember the exact year when it became a national park, but it's been very protected. And then the bears are like, it's weird because sometimes there's bears, they just walk around and they're used to people. Because back then, people used to feed the bears, which was actually a bad idea.
Right.
Because then they get used to like, being around humans, but sometimes like they can get aggressive, right? But yeah, long story short, it's an amazing place. So my last question to to end this podcast is, if you had to give one piece of advice to a new makeup artist that would really make an impact for them, like what would that be and why?
I would say shadow a makeup artist, a makeup artist that's been doing it for a while, and somebody that you can trust, for one, because there's so much to learn about this. It's not just about the makeup. It really isn't just about the makeup. It's the business part of it. Right. And if you really truly want to be a makeup artist, you gotta know the business, or else you're not gonna make any money. You're gonna lose money, and you're gonna feel defeated. So definitely shadow another makeup artist, and kind of, you don't have to do any of the work. You can just shadow them, watch what they do, and see if you're really made for that, because we are on our feet all day long. We don't get to eat. We're starving by the time we're done. And after a wedding, we're usually like kaput. We're just like, I want my feet up. And it sucks. It sucks sometimes because most of the things are on weekends, right? So the weddings are on weekends. And then if I have an event, like say I have to go to a wedding, and I did it. I just did this in October. I did 5 people, and then have to go and get ready for the same wedding because it's a family member's wedding. That's really tough. So really see if this is what you really want to do. And also knowing how to work with different people's personalities. That's a big thing, Not everybody is like you and bubbly. If you see that somebody is more quiet or to themselves, then okay, then you give them their space. But, just getting to know like really the business part about it, and seeing if this is really what you want, because it's more, everybody thinks it's so fun just to put makeup on. And somebody asked me that one day about that, like, oh, you probably just want to be putting makeup on all day. Well, actually, it's a job as well. So I don't want to be at my job all day long, which I'm so lucky because I don't have to go somewhere every day, and I don't have to do the same repetitious thing. I love what I do, and I don't know what else I would be doing if I wasn't doing this. And I just do feel so lucky that I get to do something that I feel so passionately about. So that's another thing too. You have to be passionate about this. If you just think it looks cool on social media, then it's not going to be the right thing for you. You have to have it in here, because whatever's in here, it's going to radiate onto your client out on the outside.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your advice and all the tips you've given us. I mean, it's been insightful, right? And I'd say for people that are listening, I mean, they can take away a ton of information from this and, you know, apply it to their business and to their art, because I think with your experience, I mean, it's just amazing to hear your story from when you first started at Macy's, right?
You're right.
And you became a coordinator, and then eventually you did Hollywood makeup, and then now you started doing bridal, and then you have your own studio. I mean, it's just like, it's a pretty much amazing story, because for a lot of people that may start out, like, you know, it's not an easy road sometimes. You know, you're gonna have to go through obstacles, and sometimes it's tough in the first couple of years because you may not have enough clients. So, well, thank you so much, Joann, for, I mean, just sharing your story. So how can people connect with you if you want to provide your social media information, your website, and where you're located at?
So I'm located in downtown Riverside inside of Loft 84. I also do travel, and then I do have my studio at home set up for any of my clients that are in Fontana. I'm located in North Fontana off the 210 and the 15 freeways. I'm also on Instagram at Joann Salgado, the makeup artist. Yelp, Joann Salgado. Google.
What is your website?
My website is joannsalgado.com.
Got it. And we'll post all that information on the description below. So if you want to connect with her, you can just click on that link and it'll take you to all of her accounts and information. Any last words?
I just want to say that this is a dream job, and I do feel so very lucky. And I know that when I've seen other artists have their own spaces, I thought that, wow, that's like the ultimate. And, you know, for my clients that book me, like from the bottom of my heart, I really do feel so honored to be able to help you in your special day, because I know how special weddings are. And I just want to say thank you. And also thank you for, you know, allowing me to tell my story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for listening and also watching on YouTube. Until next time, stay humble, and we'll see you in the next one.